Welcome to the Brooke Cerda talk show with your hostess, Brooke Cerda Guzman. Today it is Thursday. I'm just making sure you can see the whole article. Yeah. Today is Thursday, October 25th, 2018. We about to end this week. This year is going really fast. So, today it should be probably my Halloween show. What I'm going to be reading an article that actually came out on August 8th of this year, August 8, 2018, and I had no idea. I didn't even hear nothing about it, but I heard a lot about that slut, Stormy Daniels. That I heard about, a lot. I'm sure that bitch is now a trillionaire. She's making a lot of money. She got a career. That's what they do. That's how Europeans they own all the media and they market themselves. They call it branding. So that bitch branded herself very well. So here it is. I'm gonna start reading, and because I learned about it because well, actually, let me fast forward to today time. I just learned that the so-called president of the United States um, is going to be giving away 10% tax cuts again. Uh, Before I proceed, I must tell you, I have a very special guest. Just say hi before we. And he had a very different point of view than mine. So make sure you stick around because this is gonna get very interesting. You want to say hi just to them?
Yeah, this is the community hero.
Okay. So here we go. Um, Sorry, I'm dehydrated. I don't know why. Oh, because you put MSG in the food. That's why I'm dehydrated. I'm trying to get him into organic stuff, but we still put MSG on the food. And that make me really thirsty. So it came out, like as you can see, in the Financial Times, and it was not a journalist who signed it. It's actually the staff, entire staff. So I guess they're scared something. The Financial Times staff. You say the federal deficit was 20% larger in the first 10 months of the fiscal year of 2018. I mean, this is what I should have been hearing instead of that fucking hole. I mean, for real, this is a lot. 20% deficit in 10 months. I think like that's not even what President Obama did in 8 years. It's like, I mean, it really, I mean, but let's continue because I'm still in shock. You can tell in my voice, I'm in shock. That it was during the same time last year, the Congressional Budget Office announced Wednesday. Revenues rose 1%, but outlays increased by 4%, producing deficit of 682 billion on total receipts of 2.76 trillion. The April tax period produced more individual tax payments for the 2017 calendar than expected. CBO said, contributing to the rising in revenue, corporate income tax payments, however, were lower than expected, failing by 66 billion, likely due to the GOP tax cuts taking effect this year. They're not talking about the ones that they're just going to be announced, right before the midterm elections. On the spending side, outlays for Social Security rose by 4%, while Medicaid and Medicare rose by 3% each. Spending at the Department of Defense rose 66%, of course, and that this is only in 10 months. The Department of Homeland Security saw a 49% increase in spending, largely on disaster relief. Spending for net interest on the public debt jumped by 19%, mostly due to adjustments made for higher inflation. It's just like, I mean, it is immoral. It should be. I mean, I'm sure this shit is illegal. You know what they do, and it's just like they're trying to pump the economy, and but the economy is already maintained, with pins and needles. I mean, like it's just really. I mean, they say the federal deficit rises to 779 billion in 2018. This is another article because, I'm stupid. I really don't know what 20% is. I didn't know. So I looked up for another article and told me, how much is 20%? Oh, they told me that's $779 billion in 2018. And we're only in October, so it's like, this one is a brave guy. His name is Andrew Sharp from Delaware News Journal. It was published on October 16, and it was, updated the same day of this year. So, so this one actually just came out. Republicans in Congress have delivered epic overhauls. I'm sorry, I hate English language. Overhauls of U.S. tax laws to Trump, beginning bringing generous tax cuts to corporations. Yeah, it's not full. I have to make it smaller. Sorry, guys. Republicans in Congress have delivered an epic overhaul of U.S. tax laws to Trump, bringing generous tax cuts for corporations and the wealthiest Americans, and billions to be added to the national debt. For decades, the national debt has been both a punchline and a source of gloomy predictions about the future of the nation's children, and the picture doesn't look to improve soon. The Treasury Department is out with new numbers showing a jump almost 17% in the yearly federal deficit. The gap between revenue and spending. So, this is the key. To look to be watching the gap between our profits and how much we're spending as a country. In 2018, to about 779 billion. What that mean? Here a look at a deficit. Uh, oh my God, sorry about that. Here's a look at a different national news stories offering more insight on the deficit and federal spending. The New York Times looked at the numbers in the Trump administration effort to point to an increase in military and domestic spending rather than the recent 1.5 trillion tax cut. It's like Santa Claus. Can you imagine? I mean, you just here as a president just give away to corporations $1.5 trillion. Say that's okay. You don't need to pay taxes. Why? Because they're little people. They need to bust their ass so you can live like fucking kings and queens. In conclusion, I like this article. It's like it got tell you exactly, what's going on. Falling revenues from the tax cut were bigger contributors. Falling revenues from the tax cut were were a bigger contributor. I'm sorry, English is my second language, and I don't deny it. And yes, I need to improve my reading skills. And I bought a tape, well, a CD actually. They don't sell tapes no more. So, but I haven't actually started using it. So yeah, it says falling revenues from the tax cut were a bigger contributor. CNBC quoted Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, warning of continued irresponsible and unnecessary spending and calling for fiscal restraint, and noted that the Trump administration proposals for dramatic tax cuts in government agencies. The next budget coming from Trump will likely be much more aggressive on cuts than the last one, which made allowances for military buildup. Politico reported. With revenue down from tax cut, will economic growth from those cuts come to the rescue? Experts cited by the Associated Press weren't optimistic. MarketWatch provided some context showing the total size of the deficit month by month over the years since 2004. It must be like, like being on Wall Street and seeing like, this is so scary. It spiked to well over 1 trillion during the Great Recession when President Barack Hussein Obama was president before decreasing at the end of his term. As to how the debt will affect the country, the New York Times reported in September that within a decade, the government will be spending more than $900 billion a year. That's just on interest payments. That's just our interest. $9 billion a year just of interest. We are living large. We want to live like big bitches, and and at the cost of future generations. I mean, I could say this is immoral, but it's beyond that. I don't think there's a word to describe this pillaging, or whatever they call it. I don't know. On the death, military, more than the military spending. So this living large, living beyond our means, you know, it just I mean, just the interest alone. What are we doing? Why are we borrowing so much money from China and from anybody? And I just feel like I'm sorry if you are a little kid who hasn't been born yet, and watch these 20, 30 years down the line. I am so sorry for you, because you're in debt, and your great great and grandchildren are already in debt, and they're not even born. Is the country on its way to economic disaster? Don't panic quite yet, Forbes columnist Gene Khan wrote in September, although he offered warnings about the consequences. See, this is the Hill. I'm not going to read it. I just wanted to show you that, I got three sources, the Hill and the other two, and they all say, quote different sources, and it's just dire. Oh, and the reason I say I found out about this is because our so-called president just announced the great news that he's going to be announcing next week, right before midterm elections. So I wonder why that timing. He's like Oprah. You get a tax cut. You get a tax cut. She get a tax cut. We all get a tax cut. And then what? It's so great to get a Santa Claus. Mm. Who knew that Santa was orange and wears a toupee? Who knew Santa was wearing a toupee? But that's Santa Trump. Santa Trump. I mean, it's just like, this is Hollywood. This is Hollywood at its best. This beautiful movie. I mean, no wonder his approval ratings. You know what his approval? They're like 60 something percent, right? Trump had 67%. Yeah, and now imagine when they hear that there's a 10% tax cut. Even more. This one is specifically for middle class citizens. So I mean, this is unbelievable. So I want to ask my guest, what he was feeling as I was reading this information. Take the mic, please, and come closer. Come closer. I don't bite too hard. Not the camera. There's no camera, just audio. Just got to use the mic over here. You can see them,
Um, what was I feeling? Not too much. Um, United States is in debt $21 trillion. Um, I don't know what to say. You know, I don't own a business, um, so it doesn't quite affect me. Um, it affects people, it affects everybody, anybody that pays taxes, I guess. You know that we're in debt because more is being taken out your check, but I don't know what to say to that. I'm actually a fan of Donald Trump.
Uh, can you tell us, to the audience, what is it that you like about this administration?
What do I like about Trump? Same thing I liked about Barack Obama. Um, Anybody can be a president. Anybody that steps up to the plate. Anybody that has a good idea. Anybody that has a vision. Um, it's basically sky is the limit. You can be whatever you want to be. You know.
So you think that, since Trump is not a politician, so you kind of predict that in the future we're going to have non-politicians being elected as president of the United States?
Yes, I do believe that because it's the idea of, somebody can be smarter than you. Somebody can have more skills than you. Somebody can be better looking than you. Somebody can have more money than you. But I'm gonna put it in on me, on the eye. Will Smith said on the interview that if we get on the treadmill, either you're gonna get off first or I'm gonna die. So it's the idea of being able to do anything that you put your mind to. You know, not being afraid to die on a treadmill and the treadmill of life. And a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. Yes, it's a lot of things I don't like about Donald Trump, but the thing that I do like about Trump is opening the door for the fearless ones that want to step up to the plate in the future. You have to look deeper than the surface. The earth has a core, a crust, and a surface that we're on. And when you go to the core of things, Trump has opened up the door for anybody in life that doesn't believe in themselves and doubts themselves. So put that in perspective and just be whatever you think that you can be. Um,
Well, I never thought about it like that, to tell you the truth. I mean, um, I just found that, I really don't see anything much different. Huh?
you have a question?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I really don't see, his administration a lot more different than on other administrations. I feel like they all, like, for instance, I don't know if you notice, that all the political parties, you know, I mean, that none of the political parties, they really want to give power to the people. They want to continue the system where there's a little, a few at the top bossing us all around. They don't want to share the power at all. That's what they all have in common.
People have to take the power into their own hands. Everybody is looking for handouts. Everybody is looking for a key to the door. You know, Sometimes you have to kick the door in. Sometimes you have to go through the window. Sometimes you have to make a copy of the key. Sometimes you have to learn the keys to the game. And the number one key to the game is knowledge. Knowledge is free.
Yeah, I mean, but this country has perverted the whole world. We just learned because of the migrant crisis, the so-called migrant crisis in Honduras. We have a lot of people migrating, escaping, refugees, political prisoners. That they could be political prisoners because they've had this president that's been imposed by the United States. So we just learned that the so-called President Trump, he said that he's going to stop, uh, giving them the money because the United States has given them $300 million to Honduras. So, what do you think about that? What do you think, like, buying so many countries? We all know that the reason why they're giving millions of dollars to a lot of countries is so they can vote for everything that United States is proposing. At the United Nations.
Well, when it comes to everybody giving all of these countries money, you know, I kind of disagree with that. You know, if you give a man a fish, he'll come to you and ask you for a fish tomorrow. If you teach somebody how to fish, they can go get their own fish. So, with that being said, I think America needs to help out America. You know, there's a lot of things going on in America that's not yet dealt with. That's that we haven't dealt with. We haven't dealt with education. We haven't dealt with the hospitals. We haven't dealt with agriculture. We haven't dealt with we suffer from social degradation. We suffer from um, economic separation. We suffer from all of these things that America hasn't helped his own backyard out with. So I think America needs to stop funding everybody and help themselves.
Well, that sounds. We can agree on that. We can agree on that. I really believe that self determination it's a human right. Every country, every human being, they got the right to make their own mistakes. We don't need to go into their house and tell them, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be treating your women this way. I mean, especially the United States, I don't think it got any moral grounding to do that. So what do you think? Do you have a forecast for these November 6th midterm elections? Uh, who you think is going to win? How do you think the Senate is going to look? Who's going to have majority in the Senate? Who's going to have? Do you have any?
Well, I don't really follow politics like that. To me, it's like the football game. It's like the basketball game. It's like the baseball game. I wait to the World Series to start watching. So with that, I'm just waiting for this presidential election. Yes, I'm a Trump supporter, uh, but I'm not voting
Why not?
because I don't believe in the vote. My vote doesn't count. Our votes don't count. Whoever they want to be president is going to be president. The people just got to go out there and protest. The people got to go out there and really start putting some footwork in and start making some actions.
So you think the You think the elections are rigged? Is that what they say? Rigged.
Well, the elections are something like the Golden Globes. There's something like the Oscars. There's something like the Grammys. There's something like the Emmys. You can actually pay for your own winnings. If you want to be a star, you pay for your stardom. If you want to win an award, you pay for that award. It's all about connections, who you know, what favors you have done in the past, and what that person planning on receiving in the future.
Well, yeah, kind of like I kind of think so too. Unless they are very overwhelming. They're like, let's say, unless one candidate get like I don't know, 10 million votes, so then they cannot do electoral fraud that way. I think that's the only way they cannot do electoral fraud. So what is it that you want to do in your life? What kind of career you think you want to pursue, or what kind of like what would you like to feel you like to work at?
Well, I go by the name of the community hero. And what I want to do in the future is go out to these communities and talk to these people face to face, hand to hand. You know, um, we got to start getting out there in some of these rough communities. We got to start going where the politicians won't go, because only we can reach out to our own people. You know, Louis Minister Farrakhan, Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan, um, he has something called a Million Man March, and they did it in D.C. He asked for 10 million. He asked for 10,000 fearless soldiers. 2 million people showed up. They called for the Million Man March. 3 million people showed up. So it's all about getting out in your communities and making it happen face to face. People want to see these people that they vote for. People want to see these people that they hear these powerful words from. So that's what I'm going out there and doing. I'm going out to these communities and I'm reaching out to these people. Um, you can reach out to the most feared people in the world. If you come with peace, you receive peace.
Well, you mentioned the honorable Louis Farrakhan. I've seen a lot of people in social media that they question, his honorability. Have you noticed this been a few years ago, like I don't know exactly, but on 125th Street, they opened a humongous, I think it's two humongous centers for Scientologists. And Scientologists, it was created, to to attack black people, and by saying that, oh, you need like therapy and stuff. I don't know the whole deal, but right now I don't have the information accessible, but I know there was in South Africa, and they was preaching that, it was very colonial. It was there's very colonial thing, and now for me to see these two, I don't know how many stories they are. They are really big, on East 125th Street, close to the river. They had, which is really sad, how they're trying to disappear Harlem. And Harlem is the most famous neighborhood in the whole world. So Mr. Minister Louis Farrakhan have said that he respect, um, uh, Howard. What's his name? The founder of Scientology, L. Howard, John L. Howard, whatever, something like sound like that. The founder, the one who created the Church of Scientology. The Minister Farrakhan have said that, oh, I have a lot of respect for him, and even when he is, they are set on. I watch videos, and I constantly I see commercials for the Church of Scientology, with black people, like they're gonna rescue you. They're gonna be like, I know. So people are very concerned with Minister Farrakhan.
Well, it's all about being fearless and having respect for yourself. Nobody respects anybody that doesn't have respect for themselves. You know, Nobody respects somebody that fears somebody. So, I believe that the black community has to be more fearless. You know, the black community has to get out there and say it like it is, mean what they say is, and say what they mean. You know, it's crazy, but yes, I have faith in my people. We just got to get out there and be more fearless. Yeah, it's a lot of consequences and repercussions. But Muhammad Ali didn't win the championship by just saying that he was going to go in there and knock the person out in the fourth round. He went in there and knocked the person out in the fourth round. So you have to go out there and you got to do some swinging and you got to stop singing.
You gotta what again?
The people has to get out there and start swinging and stop singing. Put some power behind their words.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. But we've been told, everybody who's been colonized, we've been told, turn the other cheek. That's the Christian way. How did you grow up? How did you come to have this kind of this line of thought? Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? You don't have to tell us a lot of details, but
Where did I grow up? I was born in 1987. I was born in Harlem Hospital. I was raised on 148th Street between Amsterdam and Broadway. Um, I grew up in a both parent home. Um, my father was down with the 5% Nation. Um, my mother was raised as a Christian. Me, I'm non-religious. I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Islam. I don't believe in Buddhism, Judaism. I don't believe in any religion. I self Lord and Master. I believe that there's a higher power, and the higher power guides over us. So therefore, nothing will happen to us that is not supposed to happen. That's not written in our story. So people need to stop being scared. And everybody is afraid of these consequences. People are afraid to die. You know, and the black man has been tormented so much that he is now afraid. You know, we've seen what happened to Malcolm X. We've seen what happened to Khalid Muhammad. We've seen what happened to Martin Luther King. We've seen what happened to all of these great, powerful speakers, and we're scared of that. But we all got to die one day. So I believe you might as well die for something, or instead of dying of old age and not conquering nothing on earth.
wow. I mean, I agree. So, do you think that New York has changed since you? I mean, you was born in 1987. I was born in 1965. I arrived in New York City in 1992. Have you noticed that it changed New York City?
Yes, I believe New York City has changed a lot. Um, did it change for the better or did it change for the worse? I don't know. Um, I just believe it changed a lot. You know, the black man has been ran out of his own home. Um,
What's your favorite neighborhood in New York City?
my favorite neighborhood in New York City would have to be um, Harlem, between I would say 116th and 7th and Lenox to about 127th between Lenox and 5th. 129th between Lenox and 5th.
Mhm. All right. So I was just trying to to see if the audience they can make a connection since they cannot see us. They can make a connection with you. Would you ever start your own YouTube channel?
Yes, I would start my own YouTube channel, and it would be very raw and very uncut. Um, I tell it like it is. Do I have something against the white race? Yes, I do. Um, do I believe in separation? Yes, I do. Do I believe that we should take care of our own? Yes, I do.
Well, that's beautiful. You know, you're a young man, and you have very focused ideas. You know, I really wish you the best on your journey in the world, and I would love to watch your show. Whether you know, I mean, like it's good now. We don't even have to show our face. You know, it's just like I think what really matters is a lot of times that the information that we present, the sources, where it's coming from and stuff, so we can have these conversations about you know whatever we think. It's like being a curator. You know, we could curate news or events in our society. So I'm sorry.
I think it's some uncut questions, some real questions. Anything.
Um, do you think that you know the African diaspora uh, have internal damage from so many years of slavery and Jim Crow, all the lynchings? Do you think
Yes, I believe the black man is scared of the consequences. You know, it's like it's like a kid that goes to a pool and he almost drowns and he gets saved. He becomes scared of water. He becomes scared of the pool. So we seen how they blew Martin Luther King brains out. So the black man says, "Oh, I can't do that because they're gonna do me like they did him. I seen what they did to Malcolm X. I can't do that. That's how they gonna do me." But at the same time, the black man suffers from fear of consequences. You know, um,
Yeah, it is sad, and but unfortunately, a lot of men, especially men, I think there's I might be wrong, but at least I have heard that women have this conversation about how much of you know your reactions are historical. They might say like, oh, they are hysterical, but they are historical. They come from time and time again. I think I talked about with you, that's kind of like I'm not sure, I don't know if I talked to you about like empirical research. Empirical research is like that, mean that you've seen it happen many times with the same circumstances repeat themselves. Like in this case, Europeans, uh, being around, anybody from the African diaspora, they get triggered every time again. You see them, they see them in the lobby of their building, and they start questioning them. You don't live here. Get out of here, and stuff like that. But why you think, black people want to live around their oppressors? Not only their oppressors, they're rapists, they're torturers and enslavers.
a lot of minorities want to be associated. They want to fit in. It's the same with wearing brands. It's the same with having the best shoes, the best outfit, the best car, the best house. Um, the black man, the minorities, us minorities, we want to associate ourselves with something um, other than ourselves. You know, it's like saying, "Oh, I have a pair of Jordans on. Don't mess with me." You know, I live in this building with a white man. I'm different. I'm not like them.
So you're saying that they are not black, they're OJ?
Well, we seen what happened with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby said how much he hate uh, rap music, how much he don't like how us as entertainers or people that was trying to make a living and better themselves and family and friends. And then when he gets arrested, he's looking around for all of these people that he degraded and all of these people that he undermined to come to his rescue. So um, black people, minorities, we want to be associated with things, with stuff that we think makes us great.
Yeah, I mean, somebody posted the other day on Twitter, people are poor because they think like rich people, and rich people are. So you heard about it too? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's very frustrating because I mean, so many people are trying to tell people like, you know, buy property. You can buy property. You want to be the shit. You want to be that. You if you own your house, that alone, that's the significant thing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But you can't put a house on wheels. You can't put property on wheels and roll it down the street for everybody
No, I'm
to see.
talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why, a lot of big time, I would say, drug dealers back in the 80s who had all of this money, all of this means to a better life, didn't buy this property and didn't buy this land was because they couldn't roll it down the street for everybody to see it. You know, people want to have things that people can see. And that's our problem. You know, it's like I was in a store one day and these people wasn't there and they was buying a whole bunch of things and one dude told him, "Don't you think that that's going to draw attention to us?" Well, the other dude said, "We need to draw attention so we can show them that we're doing good." So people want to buy things that people can see.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You ever think about buying property? I mean, like or starting like a collective, um, something.
Yes, that's one of my goals is to buy a big farm, um, something over 30 acres, and just disconnect from society.
Oh. Why? What's wrong with society?
It's not what's wrong with society. You know, I just want to disconnect from society and um, build and show people a better way. You know, I want to, do schools on agriculture, medicine, technology, and the best way of doing that sometimes is disconnecting with people who have the same goal and getting it done. There's too much distractions in society.
That's true. I mean, just waiting for the subway, you can see all these, and you notice that now everywhere in the subway they have interracial couples, even if it's just a hand. It can be like a black hand, or sometimes even they put them in a bed, and all you see is the feet. So it's like, I mean, but only like 60 years ago, if like 6 years, yeah, 6 years ago was when they killed Emmett Till for supposedly looking at a white woman. It's just like, I mean, it was just, that's all it took. That's all it took. If a woman complained, a white woman said like, whatever, you will go to jail for 10 years or something like that. Ridiculous. And now you see all the television shows, you see everywhere you have a black and white couple. Why do you think they're doing that for?
because it's the illusion of
Inclusion. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the integration. That's integration continuation. That this token integration is this like
um,
bullshit.
just go and watch the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door.
What do you like about that movie? I mean, I know we watched it, and
What do I like the most about that movie is that you know, it's like I'm gonna give you an example, right? People are mad at Kanye West, right, for sitting down with Trump, right? But don't be hypnotized by him wearing the hat, you know. Don't be hypnotized by his massaging words towards the white race. You know, I believe that Kanye West is finessing, is gaming the white race. Sometimes you have to get in where you fit in to make it out. And in the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door, um, the black guy worked for the CIA, played his role, played his part, did what the man said, got everything that he needed to get, all of the knowledge, all of the skills and tactics, and took it back and helped out his black people.
yeah, but we seen that other movie too. It's called The Black Panther, where they kill Malcolm X again. Or the only this time they call him Killmonger. Have you seen Black Panther? You want to tell them why you didn't see Black Panther? Hmm.
The reason I didn't see the movie Black Panther because I wasn't interested. Um, I only watch 1970 and 1990 movies, 1980, 1930s, 60s, 40s movies, 50 movies. I don't really watch a lot of this new stuff. I think the best new movie that I seen was Get Out, but I don't watch a lot of new movies. I wasn't interested in seeing Black Panther.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the movie Get Out. Um, to you, what's the biggest message of that movie? What's the biggest message of that movie, Get Out? I mean, for you, if you want to tell somebody, like, why you need to watch that movie, what is the biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway from the movie, no, the best part about the movie Get Out to me was that once again, you know, in the movie they had white people was trying to steal these guys' brains. That's basically trying to steal their knowledge, trying to steal their concept, trying the black man, the minority, any minority has a leg up on a white society because he has knowledge firsthand. You know, the other people, the white people, they get their knowledge out of a textbook. The minorities get their knowledge firsthand. Their skill set is different. And in the movie Get Out, what I got from it is that the white man is trying to steal our skill set, our knowledge, our
The
um
genius of
trying
black
to steal
people.
our dreams, trying to steal our intuition.
Yeah, I didn't see it like that, but it's just very scary. And yet, I saw a lot of people they watched the movie. I seen a lot of people, like, I told my shrink, uh she's Dominican. I told her to read, yeah, they told her to see They Came Before Columbus. uh I don't know if you ever read that book, They Came Before Columbus. It's very insightful. It really it's basically a recopilation of European historians, and they all agree that the Africans, uh, was in the Americas, many from many centuries before Christopher Columbus. So I told her, why don't you read that? You're Dominican, and like she read it overnight. And I said, so what do you think about the book? And she said, like, well, it was all right. Nothing. She didn't no made no comment or nothing. But I feel like, everybody watching this, reading everything, very informed, they're very deeply moved and everything, but it's just entertainment. People are not internalizing that, because if you internalize, like, just the movie that Get Out, or not even that, I mean, like, that's more like pop culture. But like, if you read like the autobiography of the Honorable Malcolm X, if it was really to see that that is true, that actually really happened, you was to internalize it, you will never want to talk to a white person in your life ever again. And you will be always, I mean, it's just like, you will be like you said, if you almost drown in the pool, you will feel really scared around pools and if you fall in a pool. But no, people, you see them like now more than ever, they're hugging and whatever. You say that they're finessing, Europeans. I don't think so. I think they just people are just like, they want fame and money. They don't want liberation.
Well,
I know, right? It's a lot. I mean, it is a lot that.
um, I'm not really a history book reader because history is passed word of mouth. You know, if you want to know anything that happened 100 years ago or 90 years ago, 50, 80, 60, 70, 20, 30 years ago, just ask an elder, and they can give you the best history. You know, that's how any other race gets their
Mhm.
history. You know, they ask somebody that's older than them. So I believe the best history is taught by sitting down with an elder. True history.
I mean, yes, but I mean, I feel like for me, the biggest part of history, the biggest thing about history is the fact that, the Europeans, of Khazars, I think that's how you pronounce it, Khazars. In Spanish, they're known as Hazaros. This is very, very bloodthirsty people who, went to become the Rothschilds and all this stuff. I mean, this is documented history. So what they did was that they switch, everything, the connotations, the adjectives that was for black. I mean, black everything, the color black and the color white. I don't know if I ever told you, but I feel like that's the biggest scam in the history of the whole world. The biggest deception was that they switch, the meaning of the word, black, and the meaning of the word white. And that has fucked up, everybody's mindset, because we are so used to hear, like, black is bad, black is wrong, black is awful, black is dangerous, black is this. And a lot of people are used to, like, associating white with kindness, purity, beauty, everything. And so, people call me radical. Yes, I'm radical because I want to go to the root. And the root, I mean, you cannot be going around saying, like, oh, you're being, she was being blackmailed. That's extortion. Why you have to go into disqualify, and the color black? Everything is black or dark. They have a dark side. They have a dark past. They have, like, that's the biggest deception, and nobody wants to focus on that. I've been talking about this for years, and people, they look at me like I'm crazy. So I feel like until we don't start by setting people straight every time they use, they have dark instincts, or anything that's negative and black at the same time. We gotta continue writing all the dictionaries, all stuff like that. That's bullshit. Where'd you get the black is evil? Where you get the black is this or that? Nowhere. And whose dictionaries are these? you know the Hazards, the Europeans, the whatever, the ones that they are passing themselves for Mexicans, for Americans, for Jewish. They're getting, they're imposters. They're imposters, and they knew very well, if they switch the meaning of the words, they will control the world.
Yes, I do agree. But I think when I see or hear the word black, I hear strength and power. Um,
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I see. Black is everything. If you look up in the sky, when there's no sun in it, you see this rich blackness. Even in the atoms in ourselves, they call it the black matter. Black matter is just like, and oh, we don't know what it is. Well, that black matter is God. It's just that's where God is at. And but that's a different show anyway. I think we gotta go right now. But I just wanted to talk about this. I wanted to put this show, maybe just to clear my conscience that I spoke about it. I don't see nobody really speaking about it. How we're becoming indentured servants to these elites. Because this debt is going to cripple everybody's future, in especially the younger generations. So they're going to be mad at us and everything, but I feel like the millennials, they got to take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. The millennials, they got, because we are fucking up. So all the millennials, they got to come and say, like, we ain't spending shit now until we pay this. Like I told you, look at this, just the interest, just from the interest, $900 billion a year, just on the interest alone. We are not even paying the debt. We are only paying the interest of the debt with this. $900 billion a year on interest payments. Oh my God. I'm just like, I don't know. Can we reset the whole thing and start again and get rid of the damn crackers? Just still don't believe that is just a few people who have no remorse, no feelings. They're sociopaths. Um, Anything less closing comments? Just say goodbye, then. Say goodbye.
um, just be looking out for my show. It's gonna be called The Community Hero.
All right, very excited. Yes, look it up and please share. Let's prove that Black Lives Matter. Come on, especially you, damn crackers. You don't want to give reparations. At least all you can do is subscribe to his channel and share the videos and hit like and give a lot of super chats. Okay, because he's full of ideas. For real. That can start the conversations that are much needed these days. Okay, until next time, have a beautiful weekend. Okay, later.